Good morning, viewers. We thank you so much for choosing CPA Masinte as your channel for both in entertainment and information. We thank you that you have joined us today in this episode where we want to talk about what happens when you are leaving your current employer and you still have unutilized leave balances. What happens to it? Does it go to, do they just disappear like that, or should you carry with you with them? What happens to it? Is it a loss? Is it given to you at the time of exit, or what happens to it? So I want to welcome you, and please, we would like to share this knowledge. Just in case you have a question, please feel free to go to the comment section and write your question there, or write your comment there, and we shall be glad to go through all of them and read them and reply, and so that we may share this knowledge to those who do not know these pieces of information, and it will be of great need to so many. Thank you. Having said that, now I want us to begin right away. Now, in our last episode, we discussed about the types of leaves that an employee is entitled to while he or she is in employment. And today, we now want to talk about the final dues. Now, every contract must have a termination clause. The contract is not left infinite. It must have a termination clause. So today we want to deal deeper in that termination clause. Most of the employment contracts, you'll find that an employee is entitled to give a 30 days or a 1 month notice, or pay in lieu of notice. Now, when it is the employee who is terminating the employment contract, the employee is, according to the law or according to the employment contract, will have to serve the employer for the next 30 days. The employee will continue to work in that organization for the next 30 days. Now, at that time, the employee may choose to work physically in that office, in that organization, or might decide that since I haven't taken my annual leave, I will convert my annual leave into my notice. So in that regard, the employee will be away from that organization, doing his or her own tasks wherever he or she will be, but the leave will stand in as the notice, as long as the employee did not utilize the whole amount of days uh, prescribed as leave. Now, if it is the employer who terminated the contract, the employer ought to do the same. Might allow the employee to continue working in that organization for the next 30 days. But if the employer decides that this is a risky employee for me to allow to continue to work, the employer might decide to waive that leave and pay the employee instead of the employee serving that leave. Or the employer and the employee might come on a table and have an agreement on how they are going to work out with that issue of notice. So in this regard, if it is the employer who terminated the employee, the employer should not, the employer should not touch the employee's leave to use it as notice, because it is only the employee that is entitled to convert that leave into notice, and not the employer. So the leave belongs to the employee and not to the employer. So the employer is not at liberty to take that leave and use it as notice. Now we have talked about the leave days. So the 30 days at the time of exit, the accountant in that organization or the payroll officer in that organization will have now to take your annual leave, your monthly salary, how much it is, and convert it into per day. If you are paid 30,000 per month, then that means that you earn 1,000 shillings per day. So the payroll officer will now take that 1,000 and multiply it with the number of days of leave that you haven't utilized at the end of your contract, or at the time you are separating. So the unutilized balance will be multiplied by the rate per day. Then we get the amount of money equivalent to the unutilized leave days if it is annual leave. If it is maternity, the same case applies. The payroll officer will convert the daily rate. Even if you are employed on permanent and pensionable basis, will have to find a daily rate of your salary, of your wage, so that now that daily rate is multiplied by the number of unutilized days to get the amount equivalent to those number of days. Now, you'll find that at the time of exit, your payslip will have different elements in that final payslip. For example, if you served the notice, it will be shown, there will be an item of notice. If you did not serve, there will be an item of notice deducted, because an employment contract is an agreement, and the terms of agreement are written in that employment contract. So therefore, if you don't serve the notice, the payroll officer or the accountant will deduct from your wages or from your salary in your payslip the amount equivalent to the notice not served. If you had leave, there will be an item slotted into your paycheck relating to your unutilized leave days or off days that you haven't taken for that sake, or holidays, maybe public holidays that you worked and you never taken them. It will be slotted into that final pay slip. So therefore, the final pay slip will have the notice deducted or the notice paid, the prorated leave that you haven't utilized, the off days that you haven't utilized at the time you are exiting. There are some organizations that do travel allowances. It will be slotted into that payslip. So therefore, uh, as an employee, you are sure that at the end of your employment contract, no leave days or off days disappears, because it must be computed into your final payslip at the time of exit. So thank you so much for watching this episode, and we look forward to see you in our next episode. But remember that every day that is unutilized, every leave days that you have earned, every off days that you have earned, and the public holidays that you have earned at the end of your employment contract, be sure to be computing your balances. And at the time of exit, if it is you as an employer, as an employee that has terminated the contract, you can easily convert those days into your notice. And if it is the employer that has terminated that employment contract, the employer has no authority to touch your leave days and convert them into notice. So thank you so much for being with us in this episode, and hope to see you in our next episode. Thank you, and may you have a lovely day.